Hello and welcome. Thank you guys for joining us for this episode. We are extremely excited about this one to highlight our partnership with RenoWorks, a project visualization platform that we have integrated into our system. So we have brought Brad Fink, the Vice President of Brand Development here at RenoWorks, to join us and give us an overview of what their tool does, how it integrates with our tool, and what that means for your business. We are also going to leave some time available at the end here for any kind of questions. So feel free to throw your questions into that chat and we'll address everything towards the end. So throw stuff in there. And we're going to go ahead and get it started, turn it over to Brad, have him show us this, and then we're going to show you how that integration works. So Brad, why don't you tell us a little bit about RenoWorks and give us some insight?
Yeah, thanks, Justice. So, hey, I appreciate everybody joining us today for the integration seminar. My name's Brad Fink. I have been with RenoWorks for almost 10 years now. And before that, I spent another 20 years actually in the software, construction software space, everything from 3D design to estimating to material takeoff as well. A little bit about RenoWorks to get us started. So RenoWorks has been around, over 20 years, actually based out in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So we are a Canadian company. I'm actually calling you though from about an hour outside of Toronto, which is where I'm located. And we build visualizers for a living. So you may have seen our software before, maybe without even necessarily knowing it, where if you've gone onto a manufacturer's website, uploaded a photo of your home, whether it be a siding manufacturer, roofing, door, window, often that is a RenoWorks solution. And so what we've done now is we've cataloged over 350 different manufacturers' libraries. We have over 3 million, homeowners who touch our technology every year. And more recently, we've actually released a new and exciting product called RoofQuote PRO, which is directly, geared towards the residential contractor. And so that's kind of what we're going to be showing you today and walking you through a live demo and showing you how that, in conjunction with our partnership with ROOFLE, is going to be a winning combination.
Awesome. We're excited about it. Brad, let's see what we got.
You bet. So a lot of people ask me too. They say, what's visualizations important? Why do we do it? Why did we actually become, founded over 20 years ago? And there's a couple of interesting statistics. And so, every one of you in the audience, I'm sure, has been asked at some point in time, hey, I really like this, this paint swatch, or I really like this shingle board, but I really can't figure out what it's going to look like on my home. I mean, every homeowner asks the same question. And so, over 80% of consumers or homeowners, they just can't visualize what their products are going to look like on their home before construction begins. And that's really the number one thing that RenoWorks has solved is, setting that expectation and really showcasing whatever product that you're actually selling, on a project before construction begins. But what we're also finding too is that not only is the visualization important, but especially as the generations continue to come out, a lot of people just expect that there'd be something on your website, for example, or expect that they're going to have a tool that they can tinker with, that they can become engaged with. A lot of homeowners will research their products online, as well. And the customization aspect of things, being, in our case, being able to pick product selections and apply them to their projects is really crucial. So just a couple little, statistics from Hanley Wood and Consumers Digest to kind of reinforce the reason why visualization might be, very, very important to you.
Absolutely. I love that point that 80% of consumers can't visualize the products that are going to go on their home because it's such a unique aspect to home improvement, right? In pretty much any other field, you buy a car, you want to customize it, you can visualize the car with the rims and the color and everything that you want. And we're primarily a roofing technology, but a lot of our customers do other exterior work. So putting this into their hands to say, yes, you can visualize a roof, but you can also visualize all of the other things that you might do and kind of get that capability into their hands for roofing on our part, but for whatever else that customer might be doing.
Yeah, no, agreed. So, a lot of people talk about, well, what is the partnership actually accomplished, right? Now, this is a very, very simplistic thing because, we all know that ROOFLE does a lot more than just acquiring leads. And we're going to be touching on that and some of the different ways that you can use the technologies together. But just to kind of simplify it a little bit, I mean, ROOFLE, its primary goal is really to get those leads, capture those leads using their, pretty cool interactive widgets. And then once you get those leads, so once as a contractor you acquire those leads, well, what can you do with them? And of course you can quote them and you can do lots of other things that ROOFLE is really good at. But what RenoWorks is really sole focus is to take those leads, qualify them even more. And I can show you a little bit during a live demo of how we can take an existing lead, qualify it a little bit more as well. But then what we're going to do is we're going to use that visualizer in a couple of different ways to inspire the client, interact with them, set yourself as really an expert in the design field, and then help and work with those clients to kind of interact them and help them make those product selections. Okay. And so once you're doing that, and we have seminars and training sessions to how to do that effectively. At the end of the day, we want to close sales faster with you, and help you actually reduce that cycle. And at the end of the day, also, hopefully you can use the tool to upsell to a higher price product. So it really becomes an extension of your sales tool and your sales arsenal, but it also becomes an extension of your marketing arm when positioned correctly.
That's so awesome. And it's such a nice thing because we are so big on that inspiration piece. We're always so big on keep them on your website, keep them on the widget, give them the options to look at financing, give them the options to look at different products even after they've requested that initial information, show them a video of what your business does, any of that stuff you can do to keep them on your site a little bit longer, to help with your metrics and your search engine optimization. And this is another great tool. Send them to another link from your website and keep them engaged with your product and with your experience. I love it.
Perfect. So I always kind of like to simplify things as much as possible, and kind of the three primary uses that people use our visualizer tools for. One is web engagement. So if your web site and your web presence is important to you, and quite frankly, as a ROOFLE customer, you probably wouldn't be using ROOFLE if it wasn't important to you. So that's one of the things that somebody can really look at doing, is use the visualizer on your website as an engagement tool for the homeowner. Okay. And so there's a couple of different ways that we do that. And that's where we talk about qualifying the lead, because we do capture leads as well, but we won't necessarily drive more leads to the site. But some of the ones that are using the visualizer, we'll capture that lead, and it might be a higher quality lead. But at the end of the day, the other advantage too is kind of to Justice's point, where we keep that consumer, keep that homeowner on your website longer, and 15 to 30 minutes on average. And also that really helps to reinforce your brand. Another main reason that people use the visualizer tool is an in-home selling tool. So because it is actually a mobile app, it is a web-enabled app, but it works on phone, it works on tablet, works on desktop, virtually any browser. You can walk up to a home, if let's say you're doing a kitchen table consultation, snap the picture of the photo, before you even knock on the door, walk in, and you can be designing with that customer in less than 30 seconds. So it really helps lend itself as an extension of your in-home selling arsenal, and really complement some of the other things that you're already doing. And then also, if you're using, measurements, let's say from a company like EagleView, for example, and I know that ROOFLE also has an integration with EagleView, RenoWorks does as well. So if you're already ordering EagleView measurements today, what RenoWorks does is we take the EagleView data and we turn that into a 3D interactive sales tool as well. And we're going to show you an example of all of those situations today.
Man, that is so awesome. Sorry, I've been talking a lot in between these sessions. Go ahead, Courtney.
No, I was just going to bring up, a lot of the cases that we're seeing is the transition to doing more e-commerce. So, what this kind of brings me up is there may be a usage that may be up and coming and new here, is being able to show your customers a visualization without having samples. As we're moving to that e-commerce, I think this is kind of a nice segue to kind of give your customers a true look and feel without having that representation in the house as well.
Yeah, and see, I'm on the kind of opposite side of that, Courtney, because I am the old-fashioned type that I don't like to use a chat. I want to call into customer service and talk to a human being to solve my problems. I'm just a little old-fashioned that way. Not to say that I'm against e-commerce, but I like the in-home portion of this, that you can show up to a house, you can use your rep quotes to pull up an instant quote on that address without having to do any prep work. And you can snap a picture of that house and you can go ahead and start showing that customer within a matter of minutes, hey, I've brought up an instant quote. I've used some of the custom quote tools to adjust the pricing because of your chimney, because of your skylight. And now we can go ahead. I have a picture of your house. Let's go ahead and start figuring out what roof products would fit, what colors would fit. You can have that whole conversation at once in the home using this technology. So it's an e-commerce tool, but it's also amazing for those reps in the field being able to do all of this stuff on the fly. If you're great rapport with a customer and it's like, hey, let's visualize it. Let me run outside and snap a picture and let's see this in action right this minute. And it's just a really cool tool for a sales rep to have and so diverse.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump in because there's nothing like actually showing the tool, right? And we're going to show you a number of different examples. We're going to run through a couple of different scenarios. And again, if everybody has any questions on that, we'll kind of save that to the end. But I'll try to be as thorough as possible so everybody gets whatever they're looking for to see out of this demonstration as well. So here's an example. So I'm going to kind of toggle over here. And so, I mean, here's an example of a real customer that's actually using the visualizer on their website today. So they use it as a sales consultation tool. They use the Eagle View reports and the integration that I'm going to show you as well. But they also use it because they have a web presence. It's important to them, and that what they want to be able to do is capture somebody's information as they're engaging with the home visualizer tool. So this is their website. Now up here, you'll notice, and there's a few different places on the site where they actually really advertise that visualizer. There's a button, there's a link on the top. Each one of those takes you to a landing page, and that landing page, in this case, they did this page as well, and they're using it to promote, why would you use the visualizer tool and how is it going to work and help you with your decision-making process. So what I'm going to do here is now I'm going to click on that visualizer. And so this is an example of one that's actually been, branded, in this case for the contractor. Now you'll notice a couple different things. In this case, it's defaulting you to upload your own home. There's a couple examples that we could do. You can default it to this page, which is the most common. Okay. You can also default it to this page where there's some sample projects in there where if somebody doesn't have a home of their own ready to upload or a project ready to upload, they can pick on one of these sample home images here and just start playing around with the tool interactively. So we kind of cover both bases, and that's why we actually have, two different versions of the tool. You'll notice in this case, though, that it's asking me for information. Very simple information: first name, last name, email, and in this case, zip code. All right. The reason that this contractor is asking for information is with the homeowner typing in their information and uploading the photo, what's going to happen is that lead is now going to go directly to this particular contractor, right? So they may have already gotten that lead from ROOFLE, but now they're going to actually be able to say, hey, did that customer come to the visualizer? Did we capture that information, compare it to the lead that they may have gotten already from ROOFLE? And now this is a better qualified lead. And they'll be able to see what that homeowner was doing on this particular project. Okay.
That's what I wanted to ask immediately. As soon as you said, gather that information and qualify that lead a little more, these contractors can then go in and see what that customer visualized and see what they were interested in and see what they did there.
Exactly.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that gives so much background information.
Yeah. So what we do here now, because I already have an account, all right, I'm just going to sign in and I'm going to show you the difference. So because I'm acting the first time as a homeowner, all right, I don't have an account. I haven't signed in. I'm going to enter that information in order to have the ability to upload a photo. And so now that lead's been captured. If I'm a homeowner and I come back, well, now it's been registered. So the state that it ends up being in is this, because now I don't have to enter that information anymore. If you're using it as a selling tool, as a sales rep or a contractor using it as a selling tool, you're not going to want to type in that information each time. So you're going to have your own account created. And once you're signed in, you don't get asked for this information again. So it serves kind of a dual purpose. Okay.
Very cool. So that's where the sales rep would go if they want to just snap a shot of the customer's home as they're walking up. They would have that account open, snap that picture, upload it into that spot, and then walk in fully armed to talk to that customer.
Exactly.
Love
and
it.
The other thing now, it's important to note, I'm running on a desktop, laptop, right? So it's asking me to upload a photo, okay? Because it knows the device, it knows the browser I'm on. If I was on a phone or if I was on a tablet, for example, it wouldn't ask me the same question. It would say, hey, do you want to take a picture? Do you want to select it from your camera roll? So because it knows the device and situation that it's under. On a phone, it's going to ask you for different than actually just uploading a photo, if that makes sense.
Yes, it
Awesome.
does. That's awesome that you guys are able to recognize that based on the user for the experience as well.
So as I'm uploading this photo, now for any of you who've used visualizers maybe in the past on a manufacturer's website over the years, when I talk about the old days, I'm talking about like 3 years ago, not that long ago, really. What you had to do is you had to upload a photo in Visualizer, and you had to trace around the walls and trace around the roof and set, do all of these things to what we call them DIY tools to kind of manually prepare that image. Okay. But you'll notice in this case that now that we have the innovation of AI, artificial intelligence, we're able to upload this photo and we're going to prepare it automatically. So you'll notice that as I'm highlighting over all of these different facets of the building, the roof, and because we're talking about roofs primarily, this particular contractor carries certainty and carries GAF. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about more libraries, down the road as well. But what we do is, of all of the different roofing manufacturers that we carry, each of our clients has the ability to say which manufacturer's products that they want to carry. And so, we have, and I don't know the exact number, we have about 60 different manufacturers' roofing libraries available. They can say, I want to do this one, this one, this one. We can turn off the ones that they don't want to see. And now that visualizer has actually been customized specifically for the contractor.
That's so awesome. And I do want to highlight that for this integration with ROOFLE, the way that we have it set up, once you have managed all of your settings, if a consumer wants to visualize their house based on a certain product, so they say they've gotten their instant quote and they're looking at the products that you have available, if they click on, let's say like the Owens Corning duration, and they want to visualize that, it will bring them to a page like this with Owens Corning duration products already pulled up and available for them. They will not have to sift through and go back and find the product they were interested in. And likewise, if they went and clicked on a Malarkey product to visualize, it will pull them into that Malarkey product.
Perfect. Yes. So like in this case, you can now go through and quickly select different scenarios. You can say, okay, what's that going to look like with a certain color, a certain texture? You can also, there's a little compare here, so you can kind of do a before and after. So you can show somebody what that's going to look like interactively, okay? And if you go to your report, you'll notice that here, this report is branded for the customer, but it'll also show you which products was actually selected in this design. That could be printed, that could be shared, and that could be downloaded.
How awesome.
Okay, so there's one a good example. Now this particular client also carries other products other than roofing. So for example, you'll see that I have some generic brick in there. They just have some generic brick for decoration. They don't specifically carry a brick. But if you go to siding, you'll see we have a number of different products in here, whether it be Certainty, Hardy, LP. So you can kind of do the same thing. You can go in, you can pick. Remember, we have 350 different manufacturers' libraries available. So you can go in and say, I want to select a certain profile and I want to select a certain color. When you want to get in, and I don't want to dive too deep, but when you want to get into editing, so what we do on purpose is we make each one of these wall segments individual. So I could put stone here, siding here, maybe a shake up in the gable. But if I really want to go into the editing tools, they're still available, the tools that you used to have to use manually. And you can go in quickly and easily and group things together. And so now what I'm going to do is say, you know what, I know that I want this to be the same on all of it. I've grouped it together. And now when I go make a product selection, everything is going to update automatically.
Wow, that makes it so nice and simple for them to use as well.
Seriously. Wow.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you, now I know that many of you do, remodeling. Often you can also use this for new construction. So let's use it as an example on a blueprint. If I'm going to upload a blueprint, and this could be a black and white that was done with AutoCAD, Revit, Chief Architect, whatever you're using. So for a new construction, we've actually got it working as well, where as long as it's clean. I always tell people, if it's a really busy blueprint with a lot of text and dimensions and bubbles and notes, turn them off, right? Because the AI will not work perfectly on it. But in a case like this, I can upload a black and white, and I can go within, and I can make exactly those same product selections as I was doing earlier, and I can be updating those colors on the blueprint just as easily as I was doing on the photo.
That's so cool. That is awesome.
So we work on really photos, which is what a majority of our clients use us for. It'll work on a blueprint. It'll work on a rendering as well. So let's say you produce a high quality rendering with soft plan or something that you get from an architect or a designer. You can actually use that in your presentation as well and be able to interactively change those colors on the fly.
Wow.
Wow, what a powerful tool for everybody to use, not just for roofing, but again, there's so many complex things that this could be used for.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to just another version. And the reason I'm going to do that is I want to show, now this is an unbranded version. So this is before we add the logos, before we add, turn off and on the libraries. But what I wanted, and I'm going to sign in as well. So what I want to show you as well is just a couple of other, small things to kind of think about. Because, if you're looking at, visualization tools out there, I mean, there are other visualization tools out there, but I always like to show you a couple of examples of what we really focus on when it comes to the realism and when it comes to the versatility of the product. So, here's one good example where if you upload a photo, a lot of visualizers out there, the photo that you upload has to be a straight on shot, right? Or nothing works. But what we have the ability to do is if you upload a photo, that's not a straight on shot, we still set the perspective, we still set the color, we still set that on each individual wall segment or roof slope as we update it. And I want to stop and say, can everybody still hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, because I just got a message that said I've been logged out due to inactivity. So I wanted to ask if I was still live.
Definitely still
not
live.
logged out here.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So basically, like here, you'll see in this example where I can put on the different slopes, I can put on the different textures of the roof, and you'll also notice here that all the different manufacturers' libraries that we carry. So in the first example, we only had 2, but you'll notice here that we have, everybody from GAF to ICO to Owens Corning. But we have a lot of the, and you mentioned Malarkey earlier. We have a lot of metal as well. So you'll see we carry just about every metal manufacturer at the same time. And so as a contractor, you can tell us which products you want to see, and we can have this up and running for you in, less than an hour with the different products and the brands, and of course your logo here in the upper left-hand corner.
That's so awesome. It's so cool to be able to not only get access to a tool like this, but also to be able to brand it and make it such a synchronized experience for that consumer.
Yeah, and then we talked earlier too about like kind of using it in home consultations. So I just wanted to kind of show you this example. This is a project that I had saved earlier. And what you'll notice here too is that, we use it in upselling scenarios. So let's say, for example, I have this project. Of course, I've applied my roof in case my siding and my different products. We also have this little function here called My Designs. Okay, what that actually allows me to do is save different iterations of my design. So for example, you'll see I've already saved here. I can save a new one. I can select all of my different colors. And then what I can do is, let's say in this case, I say, well, I want an asphalt shingle with some, vinyl siding, that type of thing. But what if maybe I want to show the customer, hey, if you spent a little bit more money, what you could do is you could go with a board and batten. Maybe you could go with a standing seam roof. But if I really wanted to go out of my comfort zone, I really wanted to push the envelope, maybe what I want to do is, show what it's going to look like with brick or stone. And maybe what I want to do is a cedar shake roof or something a little bit more high end. So when you're doing an upsell scenario, of course, it's always about price. But now what you're doing is you're saying it's not just about price anymore. It's about the aesthetics. So if you did spend a little bit more money, Mr. and Mrs. Consumer, and this is what it's going to look like. And aesthetically, this is kind of what you're paying for. Not only is it going to be a better quality product, but it's going to look better, and you can really set their mind at ease when you're in that in-home consultation situation.
One other thing is that this blends really well with our finance option with Contractor Loan Pro. So if you're working on an upsell, you want to get somebody on a nicer siding, you want to get somebody onto a nicer roofing product, you can go ahead and highlight the fact that you can provide better financing options. You could provide slightly lower interest. You could provide a longer term loan to say, hey, I know that this is kind of your dream setup. We might be able to get the financing option lined up to make this make sense for you. So remembering that there's a couple other tools involved in the ROOFLE platform that you can bring into to play, and you can start using all of that to leverage with your customers to really get them what they're looking for, and still make your business make sense. So bring up those options, bring up those other ways that you can help that customer reach their goal with just adjusting the way that you're selling it to them.
Yeah, that's actually a really good example. What I was doing there while he was explaining that is I just went to the design report, and you'll notice too, now that I have a good, better, best scenario, you can actually have up to 10 saved designs in your project. But you can say there, now I can print that off. And now if I'm looking at the different scenarios, you'll notice exactly what product was being selected. It's a great little leave behind if they're not ready to make a decision today, but you'll have your branding on it. And it'll be something that you can leave with them that they can really think about.
That's
Okay,
so awesome.
So on that note, what I'm going to do now is we talked a little bit about the measurements earlier. So I'm going to jump over there and kind of show you that segment of it, and then we're going to kind of turn it back to ROOFLE to show you how the integration itself works. So many of you I know in the room today are ordering EagleView measurements, and those measurements you can order through your own account, or through EagleView on your website. You can order EagleView through ROOFLE, okay, which is another option that they provide. We also provide an ability to order through our own buy flow. But what we found has been, more what people gravitate to, because they're already got their EagleView account and they're already ordering it, whether they be through ROOFLE or through themselves. We've actually done an integration with EagleView as well, where somebody can order, if they want to order an EagleView, they got order directly through EagleView, okay, or they can order through ROOFLE, or if they've already ordered a report, okay, then basically once you're logged into your account, you can look here and open up a project that's already been ordered. So these are all tied to each personal account. So if I say I really want to open that up, okay, normally if you're ordering through EagleView, as you all know, you're going to get the measurements, you're going to get a PDF. In this particular case, what we're doing is we're saying order EagleView measurement however you want to order it. And then once you've done that, what we actually do is we create an automatic 3D interactive model from that EagleView data. So we're going to let that open. It takes about 10 to 15 seconds, depending on the availability of the data. But you'll notice here that, there we go. So this is an interactive 3D model of that EagleView data. Just to kind of make it clear to everybody, if you order from EagleView directly, this is what you get. You've all seen this before. You've all seen these reports, okay? And what we basically do is we take that data. So those reports are still available in the project, but what we do is we take that data and we turn it into a 3D model. With that 3D model, then, of course, all of exactly the same different product that you have available to you, that you would want available in your library, will also be available to be applied to that 3D model as well. Okay, so you can do the same thing with siding, you can do the same thing with doors and windows. All of that information can be applied to the 3D model. Okay, now this is a really good example, because some of the other things that we've actually introduced is the ability to edit the model. Because in some cases, and not bashing EagleView, but some cases that data comes back and maybe there's some fine adjustments that need to be made. And this is a really good example, because you see how that window is slightly below that roof line. So what we actually give you the ability to do is to take, in this case, that window, and you can actually raise it up on the wall. If, for example, because EagleView's got the new whole home thing out there, but some cases you might get 3 walls because of the availability of the aerial data. You might not get the 4th wall. So you can add new windows in place, right? You can split the walls. You can change the materials. If anything comes out wrong, you can grab that window, you can delete it. All right, so you can actually make edits to that 3D model. Not only can you use it for design, but you can use it, to kind of make some corrections as well if needed. And then we also have a measurement mode. Well, that measurement mode allows you to interact with that model, select each individual roof surface or wall surface or window or door, and you can go through and see exactly what those measurements are interactively with the model. So basically taking that EagleView data, turning it into a interactive measurement tool, offering, you know, the 3D interactive design and editing component. And that's kind of how the integration, you know, with EagleView is working today. And again, keep in mind, if you use a phone, you can walk through the field on your phone and interacting with the model as well.
This is incredible. It's a very powerful tool, which can only help close more sales, and even show the customer kind of the differences between the different products that they're looking at.
Yeah, not to mention the other thing that I like about this, and the other thing that I like about having the instant quote tool on your website and stuff is beyond what it does for you, just the raw fact of collecting those leads and generating that interest from the customers. It also gives a sense of credibility to that customer of walking in and showing you have the capability to give me an instant quote. You must have some serious infrastructure behind you. You have the ability to show me what my roof looks like on a 3D rendered model. You have a lot of infrastructure behind you. You are a very well-established business, and it builds that trust and credibility to a customer knowing they're dealing with an enterprise enterprise contractor and not just, you know, the local roofer from down the road. It really shows there's a lot of backbone to the organization.
So on that note, I mean, I'll touch on this and then I'll kind of turn it over, you know, to the ROOFLE team. But we talked about the good, better, best scenario, and you know, just to kind of reinforce that a little bit is that's what I find, if used properly, gives you the most impact, right? You know, yes, you can show it, but showing them the different what-off scenarios, kind of integrating that, you know, within you know, your pricing structure. That is really powerful, and it's something that's extremely impactful, and quite frankly, something that is very new and unique to our tool.
And I love that it kind of flows with our better, best options that, you know, our contractors can show, and now they can show a visualization, partnering with both RenoWorks and with ROOFLE. So I'm going to show you really the experience from our end and from our tool, and then how you can integrate this if you're currently a RenoWorks customer, or if you're looking to partner with RenoWorks, how this would look on your tool specifically.
Okay, so I'll turn it over to you. I think you've taken it now. Good.
I have, yes. So I'm just going to demonstrate really, you know, from a customer's website, what the consumer would be able to kind of see here when giving some of these options. So I want to show you that experience here. Just select an address. I'm going to see price. So once that customer has filled in their information, and when they're looking at pricing, as you can see here, you know, we're showing a couple different things, but, you know, as a consumer, if I'm sitting here going like Owens Corning duration designer, and I really want to see what storm cloud looks like, or even one of these designer options, there is now a secondary button right underneath that Get Final Proposal. And this is where your customer will be brought to that visualizing piece here. So as you can see here, you can see that this the product layers were selected for that Owens Corning copper that I had selected. Simply what they are able to do is just open that up, and now they're able to see all the other color options. Again, we have this kind of primarily chosen on this house here, but let's say if I, as a consumer, wanted to change and look at that same color through a different home, they have that option right there where they can then, again, kind of click through all some of the options. But now you can
like
implement.
there are designs already built in there, so you don't have to go and click get a picture of your own house. Because when I do any kind of internet shopping that I do, it's going to happen usually in the evening when I'm not going to walk out of my house and go snap a picture from the front yard. So it's really convenient that a homeowner could be, you know, lying in bed in the evening or sitting at their kitchen table and be able to say, let me find a house that looks a little bit more like mine, and then go ahead and visualize based on the similarity.
Exactly. And when they're selecting through a couple different ones, they're going to be able to be, again, brought to that specific product, They can then open up all the other color options that they offer. And again, kind of see what those real life colors and shingles look like. And what I want to show you guys too is how to implement RenoWorks within your ROOFLE tool. So we make it very easy. Where you're going to find this is you're going to go simply into your products. And when working with RenoWorks, they're going to be able to supply you with the correct setup. So again, kind of like how Brad explained, you can make sure that you're locking in the certain and specific products that you are looking to offer. But what you'll do is you'll just simply press customize in that specific product that you want to have that visualizer as an option. You're going to simply scroll down in that product option, and you're going to see here something that's called custom button. And so with that custom button, you're going to enter in that URL that's specific again to that product. And then you can simply here have about 19 different characters to implement or get your customer to click on that button. So we've are emoji friendly now. So I just wanted to kind of showcase now you can absolutely have some more creativity when showcasing and offering your customers a visualized option.
That's so awesome, Courtney. And it's such an easy process to get in there. Just get with RenoWorks, get your product set up. You'll get all the URLs from them. It's just a copy and paste situation from there.
Very simple. Very simple. They've definitely made it very easy for our users.
And it's also actually, just to capitalize on it, it's also important to note that once you kind of get familiar with the RenoWorks tool, you'll understand that every project has its own unique URL, which is how we're able to actually share a project with a homeowner, for example. So it's really that saved URL project that gets actually placed into the ROOFLE experiment. So, you know, you can actually, once you kind of get comfortable how you do it, you'll be able to actually save your own projects and link up your own buttons as well, even without RenoWorks necessarily having to do it for you. But we're always happy to help, and we're always happy there for support.
We love self-service options.
Absolutely. And we're here to help as well. So help@roofle.com if this is something that you want to have integrated. We'll help you get that process started. But I think, Brad, I'm going to turn it back to you. I think there's some other presentation pieces that you have to present as well.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. So I am going to share my screen once again. Everybody let me know when we're back.
We are live.
Okay, great. So what I always like to talk about too, and we touched on it earlier, but it's kind of important to note is, you know, we've been primarily talking about the visualizer, you know, yes, as a web tool, but really as a selling tool, and how you can use it in a sales consultation scenario. But what a lot of people don't realize is what other aspects they can do to use it in other marketing initiatives that you may already be doing. So for example, because we're producing imagery, right? A lot of people will use, you know, the resultant images in their social media. You'll use it to produce videos. You know, don't be afraid of using case studies. You know, you had a client and, you know, you produced, let's say, a good, better, best option for them. And then this was the actual project that was completed as a result of maybe the better scenario. Well, show them, hey, this is what we do. This is the kind of service that we provide to our customers to help them design and pick their colors. And here's actually the final house that actually got, you know, re-sided or re-roofed. So those kind of things, using it for case studies and, you know, email marketing blasts and other things like in your blogs and things like that are really powerful things that you may or may not already be doing. But you can always think about how to use that visualizer tool and the results that you get from that tool in the other initiatives that you're already doing. So I always kind of like to pinpoint out, because we've got a lot of customers who use the visualizer tool for, you know, the obvious reasons and the obvious purposes, which is to sell more product in the sales consultation. But if you really kind of think about what else you can be doing from a marketing sense, it's really extends itself to a lot of other scenarios that you may not already be thinking about. And we have, you know, information that we can send you about, you know, tips and tricks and things like that, you know, to maybe help you along to do things to kind of expand, you know, your entire presence in general.
I love that you brought up the marketing piece. There's always questions being asked of what can I do differently? What's some unique things? And I think this is absolutely one of those that would definitely separate you from the competition, is using that visualizer and showing, what customers have enjoyed with it as well.
Yeah, showcasing the use of it in the moment, and then, like Brad said, kind of a case by case scenario or a case study scenario. You can show somebody who used it for themselves, and then you went ahead and did that project and brought it to conclusion. The other thing I really like about it is we're really big on keeping engagement high on your website. So the instant quote tool and letting them adjust that, look at the different products and stuff like that, and then linking to this visualizer from your website, and then almost inevitably coming back to your website to continue browsing and to kind of finalize what they're interested in and get a quote. All of those are clicks for your website. All of that is interaction that is going to raise your significance to Google and to other search engines. So adding some more opportunities for clicks, some more opportunities for people to spend time is always a bonus.
Yeah, and Matthew just kind of said something really powerful, is what's more powerful than offering an online instant quote with a visualizer as well.
Yeah, the two really do complement each other quite nicely.
Oh, absolutely.
So just to kind of wrap it up, as far as key benefits the visualizer in general kind of offers. I mean, it's an engaging tool. I mean, I think a lot of these are kind of self-evident, but it's an engaging tool. It allows you to interact with your customers. It allows you to set yourself as a bit of an expert when it comes to product selections, consultation approach. It is a great mobile selling tool to round out your arsenal of other tools, including ROOFLE, and some other tools that you may be using, whether they be Eagle View or other measurement or estimating tools as well. The other thing that's important to know is you can customize it. So you can show only the products that you want to carry. You can omit the products that you don't carry. So if you don't carry Owens Corning, it doesn't have to be there. And very, very shortly, we're going to be at the situation where we can actually customize those libraries right down to the color level. So not only can you say, I want GAF on and I want another company off, but you might only carry 3 or 4 different colors of GAF, for example. And we'll be at a point very, very shortly where you're going to get right to that color level. So your offering will be pinpointed to only what you want those customers to see. Reduce the selling time. We do improve your close rates. We've got a lot of metrics around that. We've seen close rates improve up to 30% on average.
Wow.
With people who are using this kind of day in and day out.
That's huge.
It is huge. I mean, we've seen stats even much higher than that, but I mean, I always like to be practical. So 30% is a very reasonable goal, and it's something that we see quite often.
Awesome.
And then the other thing, by combining it with the Eagle View, by combining it with the measurements, with Eagle View, now you've got known, because I always find too with a homeowner, we always find that they gravitate more towards the photo, right? They like a photo of their house. It's their planter bed, it's their car in the driveway. So that's really what they gravitate to. But the 3D solution, that really helps the contractor out, because not only can they see the photo, but they can see all sides. They can see the roof slopes and the ridges and the valleys, and they get all the measurements. And then they can also use that to show back to the homeowner, so they see all sides of the home. So both are really complementary each other, and having that in one comprehensive solution is very, very unique in the industry. And then, of course, the lead capture, that reinforces the lead capture that you're already getting from ROOFLE. It better qualifies the leads, and rounds out the entire offering.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when there's 80% of your customers that aren't able to visualize, what a huge impression that will make. And I know I'm a visual learner, so being able to see exactly that color on my house directly means a lot.
Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to turn it over to the ROOFLE team, and we're going to talk a little bit about pricing, and we have different options for depending on where you are in your process.
Yes, absolutely. And we will be sharing these links so you can access them even after today. But what we have supplied here is different bundle options. So, again, if you're currently a customer of ROOFLE and you're currently a customer of RenoWorks, we will absolutely get you set up so that way you can supply and offer that visualizer right on your widget with us. But if you're currently a customer with ROOFLE and you don't have RenoWorks and you're interested, there is offers for everybody. So we have people, you know, if you currently haven't pulled the trigger on either ROOFLE or RenoWorks, you've got some options here. So, you know, with these links, you can simply even see that you can simply book a demo to go over these specific things. So take advantage of this if you guys want to learn more on how Reno works and how you can be more powerful within the ROOFLE tool with your instant estimates. There's also another link that we've supplied as well that you can get a demo with RenoWorks just directly. So if this is something that you guys are looking to take advantage of, you know, we want to make sure to supply anything or any questions that you guys have. This is an absolutely incredible tool to offer.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much for that, Courtney. We're going to leave a little bit of time here for questions. We've got the time. If anybody has anything that they would like to know, I know there's been a couple of questions put into the chat already that some of them have been answered. I'm running through right now just to double check a couple of things. Brad, we have someone saying seemingly there is no longer a vent option for visualizing. Is that hidden away somewhere, or has that been a recent change? Is it coming back?
So I think what they mean by event option is probably like we had an object tool where you can kind of drag in, you know, maybe like a vent object. Oh, yeah, like things like hexagon vents and gable vents and things like that. I think that's what they mean by that. So yes, actually, our product manager is probably on the call with us as well, and he prioritizes all of our features in the new tool. So that is something that we'll certainly make note of. And yes, that will be coming back. I don't have a time frame for that, but that's great feedback to hear.
Absolutely. Awesome. I just kind of want to open it up to any more questions. Feel free to put them in the chat while we will take the time to answer them while you guys are on.
Yeah, I just love how this syncs up. Oh, we got a question. All right. Do you have any data/metrics regarding the optimal amount of visualization/color options to present to homeowners? That's a really good point. Maybe people get overwhelmed. Do we want to restrict it a bit to kind of streamline that process for the homeowner?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we do actually, because there is nothing worse than overwhelming a homeowner. I mean, a lot of the contractors that we talk to, you know, I don't use the word strongly, but they hate making product selections with the customer, right? That's kind of one of their pain points. And that's what the visualizer really helps you with. But there certainly is a case for giving them way too many options, because now you're actually extending the selection process as opposed to what we're designed to do, which is compress it. So I would think, you know, three main brands that you carry is very common. You know, you might do an asphalt brand, a metal brand, you know, clay tile, depending on what you sell. Or even if you're only selling asphalt, you know, you have a entry level, mid grade, high grade. And I would say, you know, what you carry is important, but what you would bring with a physical board, you know, 6, somewhere between 6 and 12 colors. Maybe with each brand is probably about the right fit, because any more now you start to confuse, and any less you're really not offering a practical offering. So I would say three manufacturers brands, 6 to 12 colors each.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes very good sense. I like to group, you know, not have too many of the same or similar colors. I used to work in residential concrete. We do a lot of like patios that were dyed, and people would want a patio that was dyed a color to match their house. And a lot of times people can get carried away when they see, you know, 6 or 7 different light grayish green options. You know, so rather than letting your sales reps show up with 4 or 5 light gray options, 4 or 5 dark gray options, try to narrow that down. So it's, do you want something light gray? Do you want something dark gray? You don't need to look at 6 options. They're very, very similar, unless you specifically say, I wish I had this a bit lighter. Well, we can do that. But rather than kind of presenting all that to them at the same time, yeah, keeping that narrowed down is definitely a good idea.
Well, and it's interesting too, because I've heard from a lot of contractors over the years. They say we only offer black because we don't want to get into that selection process with the customer. But really, oftentimes that doesn't lend itself to the best solution for the customer. And then the solution, you know, drives by a house and goes, "Gee, I really like that you know, multi-tone brown color. Why didn't you offer me that?" Well, now you can do that, and you're setting the expectation. Hopefully, a better, satisfying experience with your homeowner and repeat business.
Yeah. And it's that great opportunity to, the real hope being they went and got themselves an instant quote, and maybe you've got yourself set up so that when they get their instant quote, they have the option to schedule an appointment with a sales rep. They schedule an appointment and they use a visualizer in the meantime. When that sales rep shows up, they say, I use the visualizer. I'm looking at these two products. Can you tell me a little bit about these two? These are the colors that I like. This is the direction I want to go. Does this make sense? And the sales rep can then take it from there. It gives you that great opportunity to get all of that out of the way before you even show up and kind of just finalize it there in person.
All great questions and very good points. But again, if you guys want to dig in more, we're more than happy to, again, set up a demo with either RenoWorks if you've already got ROOFLE, or if you need both, feel free to schedule a demo on those links that we provided with after the video is going to be recorded and shared. So absolutely happy to kind of help you guys move forward with any questions or next steps from there.
Yeah, we've got one other one here from Mitch Ketron. We have question suggestion. Is it possible to integrate RenoWorks with Zillow/Realtor.com for automatically loading in a front-facing image of the home for the visualizer? I understand if this is out of the wheelhouse for this discussion, and apologize if so. But that is a really interesting concept.
Yeah, and no need for apologizing there. I have a clear answer for you.
Okay.
With companies like Zillow, companies like Google Imagery, Street View as a great example. By taking that imagery and modifying that imagery, which is kind of what we're doing in a way, and doing it live without the homeowner's consent on a site like Zillow or Google Street View, we kind of violate their agreements, right? Because they have your images on their site, you've already agreed to the privacy laws there. So we can't do it interactively, even though technically we can. Legally, we shouldn't. But there is nothing stopping you from grabbing those images, uploading those images on your own, and then letting the AI do its trick. It's just that live integration does violate some fuzzy lines there.
I come from a finance background. I'm very familiar with fuzzy lines. Great. That was a good one, though. That is such a nice concept. There's so many different ways that you can integrate and use different tools that already exist. And we're doing an active integration here between two tools, but it doesn't mean that there's not tools like Zillow. Hey, go grab that picture and download it. You're safe to do that. Download the picture and then go ahead and use it. That's not a complete integration, but there are tools out there that let you integrate kind of in a slightly more analog way, slightly more mechanical way, but you can still do it. There's all kinds of stuff out there that you can kind of bend to your sales will.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Do we have, I don't see any other questions in the chat. We can give it just another minute here, but if not, we can go ahead and close up. Anyone who registered for this will receive an email once this is done and once the recording is available. So you'll get an email. The important thing about that is in the description of the email, we have all of the links that we've talked about and that we've shared here. So if for any reason you lose the link after you're done with this, give it a little bit of time. You'll get an email and the links will be in there as well and available for you. Awesome. Anybody else got something to add right here at the end before we wrap it up? All right. Courtney, as always, thank you so much for helping out with this and facilitating and making all of this possible with me here. Brad, thank you so much for joining us. It has been an absolute pleasure. This is a really cool technology to dig into, and we are looking forward to seeing what else we can get going on here. Everybody, join us for the next one. Look for the email coming out soon, and you can always reach us at help@roofle.com if there is anything that you need. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.